Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Suzy Rosenstein.
Hey there, welcome back to the podcast, Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Suzy Rosenstein, and I am so glad to be here with you again for this week's episode, which is super exciting for two reasons. First, it's the second year anniversary of the podcast. And second, it's also the perfect time for a midlife underwear follow-up reboot. So, I am so glad you're here. About the podcast anniversary, as you can imagine, I can't believe 2 years went by. It kind of went by in a blink. But it's not that it's been a cakewalk. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely is challenging to produce podcast content weekly. I'm up for the challenge, absolutely. I really do my best to plug into content that I know midlife women like you really care about. Sometimes you don't even know what's on your mind, but you feel the effect of something weighing on your mind. And I really do my best to figure that out for you and bring you some clarity. Being in the middle of a transitional part of life like this, we can really find things interesting. It's a time that is full of highs and lows. It's a time full of empty nests and changing nests. It's full of aging kids, aging parents, and milestone birthdays. It's full of long-term jobs and maybe a desire to change your job. It's full of your amazing body and your thoughts about your changing body. It's full of an identity shift that's both a little scary and super exciting, and also full of a sometimes agitated new sense of the importance of regret-proofing your life. There's a lot going on. We are in the middle. You are in the middle. That is for sure. Now, I'm really happy to connect with you this way in a podcast. I love knowing that I'm not alone. Your feedback tells me that you love listening and also love knowing that other amazing women in the middle, like you, are dealing with the same stuff. It's just something special to feel so much support and connection through a tiny earbud like this, right? At your end and at my end, getting the feedback. It is just so cool. I'm always talking to people about the podcast and have prepared myself to explain and show them how to find a podcast app on their phone. Lots of women our age are not turned on to the whole podcast thing yet. I like to call a podcast a party in your purse. You've got a phone, you've got a party. There's so much available goodness that's free through podcasts, any topic, anytime. So please make sure to share this podcast goodness with your midlife sisters who haven't figured it all out yet. They will thank you for it. The other thing I noticed is a lot of people say, I don't have time for podcasts. And what they don't know is that a podcast is the perfect thing to do while you're doing something else, like driving or walking the dog or pulling weeds in the garden. That's what I always do with weeding. And even, when you're putting your makeup on or tweezing some eyebrows, or chin hairs, or whatever it is for you. So it's something that's easy to do and really makes a drive or any of these mundane activities just that much more pleasant. And on that note, I know that you might be driving right now, but you also might be in the bathroom. Podcast connection happens everywhere. It is just so much fun. Okay, so there you have it, a podcast love fest. So happy second anniversary to the Women in the Middle podcast. I am thrilled that you're here to help me celebrate. Thank you so much for listening and being open to loving your life after 50 and beyond. And if you're not quite 50 yet, we are here for you with open virtual arms, just waiting for you to join us on the better side of 50. We are here for you. Now, speaking of a virtual love fest, this special anniversary episode is sponsored by my new Midlife membership group that is coming out soon. Make sure to get on the wait list for this life-changing, upbeat, virtual community for women just like you. Make this new women's membership your favorite one-stop shop for all of the midlife coaching, mindfulness, and guidance that you are craving. You're also going to get a chance to connect with an amazing bunch of like-minded women like you who know what it's like to be in a midlife funk and are ready to bust out and get excited about their lives again. Don't waste time feeling stuck and alone. Sign up for updates and launch information Finally, this is just what you've been looking for. So head over to www.suzyrosenstein.com/membership so you don't miss a thing. Now, since the podcast has been around for a while, I have noticed that some of the earlier episodes aren't getting the same amount of play as the more recent episodes. Makes sense, right? Because the podcast is growing, which is awesome news, but it's a shame too because there are some really great episodes way back there at the beginning. I'm going to see what I can do about promoting the earlier episodes more going forward. That should definitely help. One of the more popular episodes that made a big impact on my audience was about your favorite undergarment, the one you love to hate, your underwear. It was way back in episode 6, and it was called A Look at Your Underwear Drawer and the Importance of Self-Care. I wanted to touch base on this topic again because A, it's time for a personal update, and B, it's a really important topic. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Come on, Suzy, another topic about what's going on down there? You might recall that episode 106 was called Demystifying Midlife Personal Parts, and it was an interview with Dr. Heather Bartos, an OBGYN. But today's topic is a little different. It's really about a midlife underwear reboot. Because, girlfriend, I know what's going on down there. All of your underwear is not worthy of you or your beautiful behind. For some reason, when your shoes no longer fit, you throw them out. Or when your socks get a hole in them, you toss them. But for some reason, not so much with your crappy underpants, pun intended. They go in the wash, they get folded, and they go back in your drawer. And then they get selected to wear again. And again, and again. Now, as I said, we talked about this at length in episode 6. Dresser drawers are being stuffed with underwear that don't deserve to be worn anymore. They have stains, they're stretched out, they sag, they leave lines. They have lycra springing out all over the place. Yet, they remain, and you wear them. But you don't feel good when you're wearing them. You see them throughout the day when you go to the bathroom, and then you're reminded that they suck and that you still haven't gotten around to replacing them. That you haven't put yourself first. Again. And there you have it. The cycle continues. Now, I challenged you back in episode 6 to see how many of these pathetic panties you could throw out and replace. No need to get fancy either. Just replace them with undies that do the job that they were intended to do. Undies that look good and feel great. And I've heard from lots of you that you did just that. You went into the drawer, you took a good look, and you tossed out a lot of the bad ones. I've also gotten emails and learned that, that you think about me regularly when you put your underwear on, which of course is hysterical. I guess that episode made an impact, which is why we're talking about it again. You know what? I did the same thing. I got busy and I got rid of the super bad ones. In fact, I got rid of most of the pathetic panties and noticed my thoughts and feelings about tossing the ones that weren't that great, but they weren't as bad as the obviously bad ones. Did that happen to you? My overriding thought was really a question. What would I do if I couldn't find underwear that I liked? I just kept thinking that. It's a funny thing about questions. When you ask yourself a question, the answer is the real thought that you're thinking. So, what do you think I was thinking when I asked myself that question? That I wouldn't be able to find anything better. Which is pretty funny because those bad ones were pretty awful. I think the truth is that while I might not be able to find the perfect pair of panties right away, for sure I could find something that was better. So I started shopping. I took suggestions. The first attempt came in a 3-pack. I was so hopeful, but sadly, they didn't have that little bit of lycra blend that I like. It was a bad ratio. And now I had 3 pairs. So I thought I would try Amazon. I read a ton of reviews. Who knew that there would be so many reviews about underwear? The ones I liked best came in nice colors and was good value in a 6-pack. My hopes were high. They arrived. They were pretty good. They were pretty too. But after wearing them a few times, I noticed that the waistband was a bit tight. Deep sigh. Deep sigh. And now my drawers are bursting with lots of okay, but not amazing underwear. Yes, they do look way, way, way better, but I'm not loving them. I'm noticing myself pick a pair that I really should have thrown out, that were really kind of, at the end of their life. but I didn't because they're just so comfortable, even though they're not great. Like they have some problems. They don't look good. The crotch is blown out. The Lycra is springing. So one more try. I drove to a store that I thought might be okay. I found something that looked pretty good. It was a 2-pack. It was hanging on a hanger. I could feel it. I could really take a good solid look. I felt safe. I actually liked the fabric. It was very, very smooth and lightweight. So I wore them. Everything was going well. Did I finally crack the Midlife underwear code? I was feeling pretty good. I got one in a neutral tone and one that was dark gray, so I thought I was covered color-wise too. Then I went on an outing. I'm going to test drive this underwear, right? I went out. I went all the way to the grocery store. Now, I'm a home dweller with a home office. I really don't get out that much. But I do venture to the grocery store at least once or twice a week. Now, that grocery store has the kind of parking lot that you have to carry your grocery bags to the car. It's crazy. You cannot take the cart because too many people were stealing carts. It's frustrating. It's the closest one to my house. Anyway, I was feeling really good. I was wearing the undies and I was wearing a skirt. I love skirts. Do you guys wear skirts? It's a skirt with shorts underneath. I live in them. It's kind of my uniform in the summer. It gets around the whole thigh chafing problem. I love them. Anyway, as I was walking to the car, I felt something slipping. Now remember, I was holding grocery bags walking to the car. Uh-oh. I felt like my underwear might actually be falling down. I started to panic, but then I realized, hey, hang on, I have on my trusty skirt. So if my underwear actually fell down a bit more, at least it wouldn't fall completely off, right? I mean, my mind was racing. There was no possible way my underwear would actually end up on the pavement. I was pretty sure. Remember, I was waddling, shuffling, I don't know what I looked like, across the parking lot with lots of bags of groceries. I had a lot of bags because if you don't do that, you have to leave your cart full of grocery bags and then get over to your car and drive closer to the pickup point. But there's always so many taxis there that I live in there's a lot of seniors in the area. So I think that's what this whole problem is. I'm not sure exactly, but I can't stand doing that, running over to my car, racing over to get my groceries, hoping nobody takes them, nothing crazy happens, hoping I can get a spot. Anyway, I suck it up. I think of it as exercise. So there I was, waddling across the parking lot with lots of bags of groceries with something going on in my pants. What the heck was it? Oh my God. I got to my van. I put the groceries in the trunk and I had a big sigh of relief. Crisis averted. Nothing bad happened. But my underwear did indeed fall down. It didn't go down to the pavement, but it fell down. It slipped down my butt. I didn't understand. Weeks went by and I kind of forgot about it. And then last week, there I was again carrying groceries to the van. Same parking lot. I felt something slipping. Oh my God. Was I wearing that same underwear? Was this really happening again? Wait a minute. I had to remind myself, last time, nothing really bad happened. Quick check. Was I wearing the trusty skirt again? Yes, thank God. I was wearing the skirt. After all, it's the summer. It's my uniform. Okay, now I'm thinking, where's the van? Where's the van? I was now thinking out loud. And I was also thinking one more thing. How far will my underwear actually go? I felt it slipping. Will it go farther down my bum? Will it fall completely down my ass? I was actually curious. Remember, I'm carrying the groceries in broad daylight, thinking these thoughts. I'm going across a very busy parking lot. If not for the skirt, I would have panicked. But I knew now that I could trust the skirt. If the worst case scenario happened and they fell completely down my butt, they wouldn't exactly fall off and end up around my ankles, right? So I allowed myself to be humored by the whole pathetic situation. Every step, I replaced my bad underwear, right? I found a pair I liked. I found 2 pairs I liked. Maybe I liked them even more because they weren't tight. And maybe that's why they were falling down. Oh my, what the heck? So after what I felt like it was an eternity with each step, just get this visual. Like, I'm small, right? I'm only 4'10". So I must have had at least 6 grocery bags, and they were heavy. I'm like shuffling or waddling. I'm not really sure what it was, but it was heavy. So I was not walking normally. It was kind of slow. And meanwhile, I'm completely distracted with what's going on in my pants. I got to my van. I put the groceries in the back, and I sighed a humorous sigh of relief. Indeed, the undies fell the whole way down, held up only by the crotch of my skirt. I couldn't even adjust them. That's how far down they were. I was in a huge, busy parking lot. There's absolutely no privacy. It was the middle of the day, tons of sunlight. I for sure would have made a scene. There was no way to do it. Like, I couldn't do it sitting, for sure. And I couldn't do it standing. Like, I thought maybe if I stood in the door, if the door was open, there'd be enough privacy. But the state of affairs, I could not deal with it. So I just got up into the driver's seat, bare ass on my skirt, and I drove home thinking about you. Amazing women in the middle needed to hear this story. I'm thinking, oh, good. This is good podcast content. I felt that I just had to share this little tale of humorous woe. I don't even know what to say, except that my job in the underwear department is clearly not done. And I have to tell you, I'm more committed than ever. I mean, who really needs this humiliation? There's going to be a day that I'm not wearing that skirt, and then I'm in big trouble. I know that I'm not the only one too, but I really didn't expect anything like this to happen until I was well into my 80s for some reason. That and playing mahjong. 2 things I wasn't expecting for a good 25 years or so. But the other thing I was thinking, thank God, I know that I'm not the only one. I mean, I hope that you send me an email if this has ever happened to you. Because really, one thing I know for sure, on just about every topic I talk to you guys about, I'm not alone. Somebody chimes in that is happened to them or that they were thinking the same thing. And you really have told me this time and time again. I've been doing this now, coaching midlife women for 6 years. And it is so wonderful to know this. So if I don't get one email, I might cry because I really want to know that this has happened to somebody else. Please remember this at your end too. When you're going through something, you are not alone. You're never alone, or at least my fingers are crossed. That's what I'm hoping. So this is just an embarrassing story if you don't do something constructive with it, right? So I want you to really think about this and not just laugh. Ask yourself, are you still wearing underwear that you know in your heart of hearts should be thrown out? And don't get all smug if your underwear is good. I bet you have a bra or 2 that's well past its best before date. Now, I was thinking about how underwear is really like a bad thought. And we talk so much about thoughts and thinking in the Women in the Middle podcast. When a thought no longer serves you, it's time to say goodbye. With thoughts, you shine a big flashlight on your brain, see what's going on up there, notice how your thoughts make you feel, and decide if you like the results. It's the same with underwear. Turn on the lights in your bedroom, check out your drawers, and see what's going on in there, and then what's going on in your head when you wear a bad pair. When the pair no longer serves you, when it's not doing its job, then it's time to say goodbye. Same with so many things we keep kicking around. And I am very guilty, like you, right? I've got the same sort of things happening. So what comes up for you when it comes time to say bye-bye to things like this? Do you think about waste? Do you think about spending money on yourself? Is that what the problem is? Do you have this feeling of basic overwhelm and not knowing where to shop? Do you think that you're just too darn busy? This is the common stuff that comes up on this topic. You really have to notice what you're thinking and feeling. Remember, they're related. So if you feel the feeling, you can go hunting for the thought that's creating it. It's very illuminating when you find it. And if you find the thought, you have to really notice what you're feeling. And what if you're like me? You set out to make that change because you don't like your reasons for the way you've been living or what you've been wearing or what you've been doing or not doing. Now, again, this isn't just about underwear. It's about putting yourself first, allowing yourself comfort, pleasure, time, and energy, prioritizing taking care of yourself. So I started buying new pairs and still had the embarrassment of underwear falling down my ass in public. Thank God for the skort. Seriously, this is why I wanted to bring this topic up again. It bears repeating. The question really is, what do you do when you fail? I think this was an underwear fail for me. It's not a big life fail, but it's still discouraging. I've spent money and time to try to solve the problem, and I still haven't had success. I must say, I do feel a little overwhelmed. I don't know how I'm going to solve the problem yet. I clearly haven't had much luck. I know I'll continue to get advice and keep asking people. Now, one option, of course, is to be at the effect of the overwhelm. This is tempting, let me tell you. Overwhelm keeps you stuck, though. That's the problem. So if you feel overwhelmed and then you just start responding to it, you're going to stay stuck. So basically, I think this is really quitting on yourself, everyone's favorite game. Or I could, and you could, think something that will help motivate. So for me, I want to think something that will help motivate me to keep trying. Like I said, I'm going to read more reviews. I'm going to ask more suggestions. I'm going to keep shopping. I'm going to try different stores. I'm going to go online. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just chalking this up to trial and error. And if I waste money trying to solve it, oh well. How many bad pairs can I really buy before I figure this out? Maybe $100 worth, maybe $120, something like that. You know what? I'm definitely worth that much. Seriously. This is an example about how being specific can really help you. And of course, you can apply this to any part of your life when you're working on a solution to a problem. Now, I don't want to waste money. I didn't prioritize this area of my life for years, though. And these thoughts can get in the way of solving the problem if I'm not careful. And it's the same with you. If you don't think on purpose, you will go into autopilot with your thoughts. And that means you'll just think what you've been thinking. And then that means you'll feel the way you usually feel and do what you usually do, which means the same old outcome. So again, if you want a different result, you have to think on purpose. And that means think differently than you're currently thinking. So if you want to find that elusive pair of perfect panties, or find a new job, or change your career, or adjust to your new life now that the kids are gone, or love your new life after your divorce, or be intentional about making new friends, or finally move to the house or location of your dreams, or lose some weight, or finally start exercising, or anything. If you want to do anything, you have to think on purpose. Changes like these don't happen by accident. You really have to want to change. You got to change your mind and change your underwear. That's it for this episode, my friend. My focus as a midlife coach is to help you get excited about your life again. Being the queen of your brain domain is the best way to be. Check out the show notes with more information and links at www.suzyrosenstein.com. Download my free ebook, 9 Secrets to Get Unstuck in Your 50s at www.suzyrosenstein.com/9 secrets. Find the community you're looking for by joining my free Facebook group, the Women in the Middle Community, at facebook.com/groups/Women in the Middle Community. It's for women just like you. Let's do this, ladies. One intentional thought and perfect pair of panties at a time. Thanks so much for listening.